This video is sponsored by Normandy 1998, 212th Trooper, Sylar 1610, Rune Scribble, Legendary Ray, and Kitsu the Kitsune. As you know, partnership is a core theme of the Pokemon franchise. That's why I'm excited to announce that BetterHelp is the paid partner of this video. BetterHelp is a service dedicated to matching you with the right therapist for you and your needs, since starting therapy can be daunting. However, once you get over that hurdle, it can also be massively beneficial, helping you sort through stuff that's on your mind, and even stuff you didn't realize was bothering you, be it day-to-day life worries or something bigger. To put it in a Pokemon context, BetterHelp is like the episode Charizard Chills, where Ash helps Charizard sort through its issues with Damien and how that's affected its outlook and attitude since evolving. Now, think how much better things would have been for Charizard if it knew it had someone it could talk to about that stuff earlier on. Now there's a what-if idea right there. However, you don't have to ask what if when it comes to yourself, since BetterHelp has made it convenient to connect with a credentialed therapist. All you need to do is click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/pickleddill. That's betterhelp.com/pickleddill with 2 Ds and 2 thumbs up from me, since by using my link you'll also get 10% off your first month of therapy. But with that said, let's get on to the story. In a tone that suggests he did not summon them, Cyrus flatly asks what Ash and his friends are doing here, to which our heroes respond that they're going to save the Lake Trio, with Pikachu and Pickled using this moment of confusion to attack the devices containing the legendary Pokemon, while Lucario joins Brock and his Krogunk in warding off the commanders. In canon, this 1-on-3 would end in defeat and capture, though here Lucario hard counters both Skuntank and Purugly, leaving Toxicroak for Krogunk, and Ash and Dawn the time they need to not only help get the Lake Trio out of containment, but also shatter the red chain fragments lining their heads, thus freeing their minds as well. Naturally, upon being released, the captive trio flee, teleporting to safety, with this being something Cyrus could not have anticipated, as years of careful planning and covert action have been foiled by a couple of children and their Pokemon. This is infuriating. Yes, for the first time in a long time he feels something, and it is incandescent rage. Sensing this in his aura as it goes from dead to blazing, Ash and Lucario yell for the others to watch out, though it is already too late, as shoving his subordinates aside, the Team Galactic boss demands to know if they realize what they've done. Thwarting his plans was one thing, but they have done something far worse. They have infected him with emotion. Now he cannot be worthy of his new perfect world even if he were to create it, so he guesses he'll have to settle for just destroying this one and wiping out the sickness once and for all. Having never heard him speak like this, Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter are frightened, though in that moment he pays them no mind, bringing out his Weavile, Houndoom, and Honchkrow, which he sicks upon the heroes, evidently intent on making them the first casualties of his new manic path of destruction. This immediately turns the tide, as now Team Galactic have 6 Pokemon on their side against Pikachu, Piplup, Krogunk, and Lucario. Though refusing to let Cyrus get away with any of this, Ash brings out Monferno and Dawn chooses Buizel, so when both sides clash, it is with even numbers. However, this does not mean it is an even fight, as while the Galactic group are fueled by fury or fear of reprisal if they don't follow the new plan, the heroes lean on their bonds of trust and friendship, with this giving them the edge as they seamlessly work together, watching each other's back and picking apart the already fractured alliance of Cyrus and his commanders. As a result, it is not long before the villains' numbers begin to fall, with Krogunk finally getting its win against Toxicroak thanks to Ash and Pikachu's help. Dawn's Piplup and Weasel combine Aqua Jet and Whirlpool to create a spinning jet that finishes off Skuntank and Purugly, and finally the combined might of Lucario and Monferno's master-student bond defeats Cyrus's remaining Pokemon. This physical manifestation of the power emotions can bring proves too much for Cyrus, who collapses to his knees, unable to understand what he has witnessed, while seeing their leader truly broken. Mars, Saturn, and Jupiter abandon him and Team Galactic. Not long after this, Cynthia and Luca arrive, with the latter taking Cyrus into custody while the champ praises the kids for saving Sinnoh and possibly the world. Though laughing heartily, Ash admits they couldn't have done without each other, as he and his friends share a high five. From here, the gang get back on the road, with it not being long before they have to say goodbye to Gliscor as it goes to train with an air battle master, though fortunately Gible soon takes its place as they get closer and closer to Sunyshore City, though first they must once more cross paths with Paul and Barry, the latter of whom is seeking a battle, though before he and Ash can finish their first match, Team Rocket swoops in and abducts their Pokemon. This is aside from Monferno, who had previously been knocked away during a clash with Barry's Empoleon, and who now returns in its blaze state. Thanks to the power this gives, Monferno is easily able to send the crooks blasting off, though perhaps this is too much power, as the damage it deals inadvertently threatens to collapse the cage the captured Pokemon are kept in, crushing them. Recognizing that this is its fault due to having already learned to maintain its sanity in Blaze, Monferno leaps to the rescue, though even its strength is seemingly not enough, as the cage begins to crush them all now. However, refusing to give up, both Ash and Lucario cry their encouragement and belief in the monkey, with this giving it a new boost, as it destroys the cage and frees its friends, while evolving into Infernape in the process. This naturally delights both Ash and Lucario, who congratulate it. While watching from the trees, Paul can't help but be intrigued, as not only did Monferno show consistent control over Blaze, but it actually used its power to evolve. Though, as Ash will soon learn, even this power does not make him unstoppable, as a few days later he agrees to battle Flint of the Elite Four in an exhibition match to reignite Volkner's battling spirit. Here he makes use of Infernape, Pikachu, and Lucario, though sadly all three fall to the Elite's own Infernape, even if he does acknowledge the boy's power, while Volkner admits that he is willing to resume his gym leader duties after what he just witnessed. Unfortunately, his return from hiatus is a rather limited one, as while he and Ash do begin a battle, it is interrupted by Team Rocket, who tries to steal the Sunny Shore Tower, and while this does give Grotle the experience it needs to evolve into Torterra, it results in Volkner requesting a rain check on continuing the gym battle until the tower is repaired. Subsequently, Ash and Co accompany Dawn to the Grand Festival, where she is able to claim victory due to using Buizel and Piplup in place of Togekiss and Piplup, since the pair's combo move from the Team Galactic battle, coupled with Buizel's strength and more combative nature, is enough to defeat Zoe's Glameow and Glade, making her the new top coordinator. Feeling inspired to win the Sinnoh League just like Dawn did the Grand Festival, Ash returns to Sunny Shore to face Volkner for real, this time using Pikachu and Infernape, the latter of whom shows off its near mastery of Blaze, as it is able to defeat two of the gym leader's Pokemon on its own, resulting in a clean victory which Ash and Lucario are both immensely proud of. In the wake of this, Ash learns that he has a month until the Lily of the Valley conference begins, and so heads to the island where the league will be held so he can use this time to train. As part of this, he recalls all his Pokemon, so that each of them can get some specialized attention, though they are not the only ones, as Lucario also makes sure that Ash's own training in Aura is not neglected, though at this point there isn't much left to teach him. This in turn frees Lucario up to focus on its own improvement, with the new setting proving quite beneficial, as the Aura Pokemon has access to all of Ash's stronger Pokemon to serve as training partners, from Charizard and Snorlax, to more familiar faces such as Sceptile and even Infernape itself, who is eager to repay its mentor now that they can spar on an even footing. This gives the Aura Hound a good challenge, and a chance to test itself against peers it respects, all the while deepening its bond with the extended team and giving it a clear path forward. Finally, the fated day arrives and the Sinnoh League begins, with the opening rounds going the same as canon since Lucario's presence would have no impact on them, so that before Ash knows it, he is in the quarterfinals, and most importantly, his opponent is none other than Paul. This is a rematch Ash and his team have been waiting for, and won't give them all a chance to make up for their Lake Acuity loss. He even brings back Gliscor in place of Gible, ensuring it's the exact same team as before. Having suspected Ash would fall prey to such sentimentality, Paul in contrast constructs his team around beating them again, preferably with fewer losses this time to ensure that the message sinks in. His way is the only path to success, and any evidence Ash may have seen to the contrary is just a fluke. To this end, when the time comes for the battle to begin, he opens with one of his two undefeated Pokemon from Lake Acuity, his Weavile, while Ash chooses Staraptor in the hope of giving it some redemption. Deeming this a foolish, overly emotional plan, Paul attempts to recreate the strategy that led to his prior success, though, as he will soon learn, Ash and his Pokemon have worked tirelessly to improve since Lake Acuity, with this being proven when Staraptor claims victory this time, knocking out Weavile and giving the opening lead to Ash. Gritting his teeth in frustration, Paul next chooses a Pokemon he has not used against his rival before, Drapion, as if to show that while he will replicate what has worked in the past, he is still able to grow and adapt when new information presents itself. Wanting to feel out what this unfamiliar Pokemon can do, Ash decides to stick with Staraptor, though this proves to be a mistake, as Drapion's Pin Missile quickly removes the bird's aerial advantage, while its devastating cross poison is in place to counter the very brave bird technique that Paul's brother taught it. As a result, it is Staraptor who falls here, evening things out while in its place Ash picks Gliscor, since with its poison and bug resistance, it should be able to handle Drapion's strategy and bring things back in his favor. This is incorrect, as while those factors are in play, Drapion's immense strength backed by Paul's guile make them more or less irrelevant, as the purple-haired boy focuses on setting up toxic spikes and then batting Gliscor down to the battlefield where it is poisoned. This in turn makes it groggy, while also limiting how much time it has left, forcing Ash to make a tactical retreat as he calls it and brings Pikachu out in its stead. Like Gliscor, Pikachu is poisoned, showing that toxic spikes will be an ongoing problem, though this is not enough to stop Ash's number one partner, as through a combination of Thunderbolts, Volt Tackles, and Iron Tails, he is able to go toe-to-toe with the Ogre Scorpion Pokemon. This quickly turns into a battle of David versus Goliath, as while Pikachu is quicker, Drapiona's size and power outside, making each of its blows worth several of the Cantonian electric types. However, as Ash has been trying to prove since the day he met Paul, ruthless power is no match for heart and partnership, with this becoming clear when Pikachu prevails in spite of his poisoning, taking out one of the purple-haired boy's most dangerous Pokemon in the process. Unfortunately, by now the effects of toxic spikes have truly taken their toll on Pikachu, so that when Paul's Alpha Gliscor enters the fray, it makes short work of Ash's starter. In his place, Ash calls for Lucario, a wise choice as its steel typing prevents it from being poisoned by the toxic spikes. However, rather than go on the attack as Paul had expected, the Raven-haired boy instructs his friend to tap into its aura sight to locate all the remaining spikes on the field, and to use Bone Rush to sweep them into the air. Though, even this does not seem to be an offensive maneuver, as they are not being directed at Gliscor. Instead, they are simply launched upwards. Then, when they have all been removed from the field, Lucario fires a single Aura Sphere, destroying the barbs in their entirety before returning to Ash's side, since it did not come out to fight, just to help its comrades and thwart Paul's strategy. This naturally annoys the purple-haired boy, though not half as much as what Ash does next, with the Cantonian boy choosing his Torterra in an attempt to mimic Paul's own strategy with Drapion, as it uses Leaf Storm the same way the Ogre Scorpion used Pin Missile, and Bite to copy Cross Poison when things get up close and personal, all the while showing that Ash has also taken the best of Paul's methodology into himself, while never losing his compassion. This does initially prove problematic for the son of Veilstone, though unfortunately, Gliscor's status as a Pack Alpha gives it the bulk it needs to endure these hits and strike back, demonstrating that it has superior speed and defensive capabilities to Torterra. Subsequently, Ash is forced to recall his Grass starter, promising that it will get another chance to prove itself later, while also figuring there's someone who would greatly appreciate a chance to battle Paul's Gliscor. As it turns out, this is his own Gliscor, as having once been the crybaby runt of the pack, it now has a chance to show its growth against the fearsome former leader. Remembering Ash's Gliscor and how pathetic it once was, Paul's does not take it particularly seriously at first, though this is to its detriment, as demonstrating the confidence it has gained from Ash's kindness along with the skills its time with an Air Battle Master have furnished it with, it crushes the former Alpha, and stands as yet another example of Ash's ideology in practice. With this, half of Paul's team is gone, while Ash has only lost Pikachu and Staraptor, though as the purple-haired youth is quick to show, he's saved his heavy hitters for the back half. This becomes immediately apparent when Ninjask makes its appearance and promptly outspeeds Gliscor, even if it is Drapion's poison that ultimately defeats it, bringing the team numbers back into equilibrium. Sensing the eagerness in Lucario's aura, Ash does not even need to look or say a word, instead simply nodding as the fighting steel type takes to the field, while across from it, Paul orders Ninjask to crush it like it did last time. However, Lucario is not the same Pokemon it was before, having seen more and trained more alongside strong, worthwhile rivals, with this showing its fighting style, as now when the Bug Flower attacks, it does not try to outspeed it, instead using Detect to ground itself and brace for the hit like a bulky Snorlax. This is then followed up by a retaliatory Tail Swipe mimicking Sceptile's signature pound that leaves Ninjask off kilter, putting it in a perfect position for a follow-up Aura Sphere that is compressed and then allowed to expand at the last second for maximum power like Charizard's Dragon Rage. In an instant, the ninja Pokemon finds itself beaten and bedraggled, though it is not quite enough to defeat it, with this causing Paul to smirk that the dog is still pathetic. However, it seems Lucario is not yet done, as having saved the best for last, it draws back its fist before lunging forward in a manner very similar to Infernape's signature Mach Punch. Though this is not Mach Punch, but instead something Lucario devised by watching, sparring with and learning from its student, so that as its fist collides with Ninjask's face, it reveals its new move, Bullet Punch. Against such a fast and powerful attack, Ninjask has no chance, crashing to the ground with spirals for eyes, while Paul is forced to grudgingly recall it and bring out his penultimate Pokemon in Torterra. Wanting to keep the momentum it has gained, Lucario continues to press the attack, though this proves to be a mistake, as having trained his starter to be a defensive powerhouse, Paul answers this with a combo of Frenzy Plant and Mega Drain that binds Lucario's limbs before leeching its vitality. Knowing this is a threat Lucario cannot handle with its skill set, Ash calls for a retreat, and when the referee raises a flag in acknowledgement, Torterra releases it, allowing it to limp back to the trainer box and stand by Ash's side, while in its place the boy calls for his own Torterra. Unfortunately, this mirror match does not go as well as Gliscor versus Gliscor, as Paul's grass type is more experienced and better trained, resulting in a decisive victory for the purple-haired youth, leaving Ash only two choices: bring Lucario back in, or use his final Pokemon. Seeing this is no real choice at all, Ash calls for Infernape to show Paul what it can do, with the Fire Monkey bursting onto the field to face its fellow final stage starter. As both Pokemon have a super effective type against the other, this is a challenging matchup, though thanks to its friends helping to wear it down, Infernape is able to come out on top, while Paul's last choice is none other than Electivire. Knowing how strong Paul's electric ace is, Ash urges Infernape to do its best, while in turn the other boy seems to have a simple goal: inflict an unending barrage of damage upon his former Pokemon, since obliterating it will also be the definitive proof of his ideals being superior to Ash's. To this end, he has Electivire hound Infernape, never giving it a second to breathe between Brick Breaks and Thunders, while also using Protect to shield his Pokemon from the Fire Starter's retaliations. As a result, things quickly begin to turn in Paul's favour, with Infernape growing steadily more tired and injured. From the sidelines, Lucario calls out to its student, offering to step in and handle things from here, though surprisingly, Infernape refuses, thanking Lucario for its concern, but assuring it that it is no longer a child in need of protection, and that it can win this so long as it knows that Lucario and Ash believe in it. As one, the Raven-haired boy and Aura Hound nod that they do, with this igniting something within Infernape, quite literally, as at that moment it draws on the power of Blaze, fully mastered and able to give it the strength it needs. Having hoped to see this, Paul and Electivire both ready themselves, as now the true test begins, and they have no intention of failing. Subsequently, they go on the attack once more, using Brick Breaks and Thunder Punches, though now Infernape is able to match them with its own Muck Punches and Flare Blitzes. However, this is not the way of things for long, as with each hit the flame of Infernape's fighting spirit grows stronger, and its attacks with it, so that soon, Electivire is the one on the back foot. Urgently, Paul attempts to fall back on Protect, though this can only work so many times, as after one too many attempts, Infernape breaks through the barrier, knocking Electivire unconscious, and sealing Ash's victory. For a second, neither Ash nor Paul can believe it, though as the shock fades, the Raven-haired boy runs in to hug his fire starter, while beside him, Lucario praises its growth and strength, both physical and emotional. Even Paul and Electivire give the group matching nods of acknowledgement before they depart, having seemingly accepted that there may be something to this idea of bonds and kindness. The following morning, Ash is slated to have his first ever semi-final battle, this time against Tobias, the enigmatic trainer who has so far only used a Darkrai. Thankfully, Ash has a counter in mind, as when the Cloaked Man summons his mythical beast of nightmares, the Cantonian youth responds with Lucario, since it was never actually defeated yesterday, and thus has enough stamina to take part in this fight. Unfortunately, stamina is not worth much in the face of Darkrai's signature Dark Void, as one hit from that is enough to put Lucario to sleep, while Tobias prepares to use Dream Eater to finish it off, as he is with every foe in the league so far. Urgently, Ash cries out for his steely fighting friend to wake up, though when this doesn't work, he employs a more esoteric technique, reaching out with his aura to connect with Lucario's while sending the signal to wake up. As he had hoped, their bond proves stronger than even Darkrai's power, with the Aura Hound opening its eyes at the last second so the Dream Eater passes harmlessly over it. Having not expected this, Tobias and Darkrai are taken aback, with this being what Ash and Lucario need to defeat the Pitch Black Pokemon. Though it remains a tough battle, as Lucario is forced to endure several Ice Beams and Dark Pulses before Darkrai finally goes down. Unfortunately, it seems the Dark type is not Tobias' only powerful Pokemon, as in its place he calls forth Latios, whose signature Luster Purge unfortunately proves too much for Lucario, downing it, along with Swellow and Gibble soon after, so that Ash quickly finds himself down half a team while Tobias only has one loss under his belt. Luckily, Sceptile is here to finish off the Eon Pokemon, bringing things a little closer to an even keel, though this feeling of balance does not last long, as Tobias' third Pokemon, Entei, makes short work of the Grass starter. The same is true for Quilava, who Ash had picked in place of Torkoal to give some representation to his Johto team, though having saved his old reliable for last, Ash then calls on Pikachu, who is able to step up and conquer 1/3 of the legendary beasts. Having never lost any Pokemon before, let alone half his team, Tobias is nothing but praise for Ash, though this does not mean he takes it easy on him, as in Entei's place, he brings out his own Kanto electric type, Zapdos, with it and Pikachu going head to head in an electrical clash, a clash that the mouse Pokemon sadly cannot win, resulting in Ash's elimination from the Lily of the Valley Conference, while Tobias proceeds to the championship. However, not everything is doom and gloom, as not only is this Ash's highest league placement yet, but his friends are quick to praise him for his tenacity and strategy. Chief among them is Lucario, who proudly states that after everything he's learned and achieved in Sinnoh, as well as his continued displays of aura mastery, he is unequivocally worthy of being called an aura guardian in his own right. Gratefully, Ash assures the fighting steel type that he could not have made it this far without its help, and that he will always appreciate everything it's done for him. While shaking its head, Lucario states that Ash has done just as much for it, with the pair clasping hands, no longer as master and student, but as equals. Though, this does mean that the time has come for them to say goodbye, since with its promise to Ash fulfilled, Lucario must make good on its vow to help Riley and the remnants of the Aura Guardians regain what they have lost. Knowing this will be a difficult endeavor, the ancient Pokemon offers Ash a chance to accompany it, stating he would make a good teacher and a valued member of the Order, and while he does want to help his friend, Ash ultimately declines, stating that he still wants to keep traveling and improving. Understanding this perfectly and having come to expect nothing less from Ash, Lucario wishes him well, though, as they part ways, it makes the boy a promise. We will meet again. And that's where we'll leave things. What adventures await Ash around the corner? Can he maintain his level of strength without Lucario by his side? And will they truly meet again? Find out as the journey continues.